Everyone's excited this morning. We're back at Quito Airport, heading for Galapagos via Guayaquil, the largest city in Ecuador. On the way, we get a view of the plateaus and deep ravines that make up this part of Ecuador. Guayaquil is a big port city with 2.7 million people. We don't have to deplane here, but we board some more people for Galapagos. Then we're off the ground and headed over the Pacific Ocean. The Galapagos are 620 miles off the coast of Ecuador. The nearest island is San Cristobal, one of 3 islands that allow permanent habitation. We're landing at Puerto Bacarrizo Moreno, the capital of Galapagos province. No need to clear customs, so we quickly gather our gear. And before we know it, we're on the water headed to our home for the next 9 days. She is the Queen of Galapagos. We find our cabins. We check out the bath with a view. After lunch, it's back to shore to explore San Cristobal. A bus takes us to the southeast corner of the island, to Cerro Colorado, the breeding station for the famous Galapagos tortoise. Here we learn about the private lives of tortoises. They breed once a year, and the female lays between 12 and 16 eggs. The rangers quickly gather them and start an incubation process. The hatchlings are transferred to growing pens for at least 2 years, or until they're big enough to be safe from predators. Then they're transported to the northern part of San Cristobal to repopulate that area. It's not just tortoises here. We find a lot of bird life too. Charles Darwin observed that mockingbirds here varied from island to island. Then he noted that finches had an even greater variability from island to island, observations that led to his theory of evolution. The ancestors of all these animals arrived here either by flying, floating, or swimming, carried by the Humboldt Current from South America or the Panama Current from Central America. Back at the harbor, we're entertained by some of the locals while we wait for the Zodiac to take us back to the Queen of Galapagos. Overnight, the captain has taken us to Santa Fe Island. We're anchored off Barrington Bay, and the Zodiacs are waiting to take us ashore. We're met by a large colony of sea lions, who mostly ignore us. Descendants of California sea lions who rode the Panama Current to Galapagos. They're now a genetically separate species. They're a little smaller than their California relatives. Santa Fe is a small island of 9 square miles with a maximum elevation of 850 feet. Geologically, it's one of the oldest islands, dated to 3.9 million years. The prickly pear cactus has evolved into a tree form to protect its pads from iguana and tortoises that used to roam here. The trunk has thick bark and spines. The pads are the favorite food of the Santa Fe land iguana, which only exist on this island. With infinite patience, they lay underneath the cactus tree and wait for a cactus pad to fall. The Santa Fe land iguana is paler yellow with a longer, more tapered snout than the land iguanas found on several other islands. We're always on the lookout for new birds, and we weren't disappointed. The beak of the mockingbird here has a curve in it compared to the straight beak of the San Cristobal mockingbird. That shape looks just about right to eat the fruit of the prickly pear. Time to work our way back to the beach, if the sea lions will let us. We take the Zodiacs back to the Queen of Galapagos for a mid-morning snack and to get ready to get wet. While we're pulling on our wetsuits, we're entertained by these unusual small birds. Omar calls them Jesus birds because they appear to walk on the water's surface. What they're doing is called pattering, holding their feet on the water's surface while hovering. They feed on plankton and small fish picked up from the surface while they hover. There are fish here, but it's awfully murky. The curious sea lions race out to challenge us. Toward the middle of the bay, the visibility is better. There's this very large green sea turtle among some rocks in the sandy bottom. It looks like a shark tried to make a meal of him in his younger days. While I was getting chased by sea lions, Sherry was cruising in a Zodiac, finding some interesting birds. This juvenile Galapagos hawk was fearless and posed for pictures. While we have lunch and a siesta, the captain is taking us to Black Turtle Cove on Santa Cruz Island. We pick up some hitchhikers on the way. We hop in the Zodiacs and set out to explore the mango-sheltered cove. A blue-footed booby welcomes us at the entrance to Black Turtle Cove. Mangroves are a great nursery for turtles and fish, including rays and sharks, which also attract fish-eating birds such as pelicans, herons, and boobies. We push further into the labyrinth. We spot several small rays and reef sharks in the shallow water. A green sea turtle feeds on algae on the mangrove's roots. Just a few more bird pictures. Then as the sun starts to set, it's back to the Queen of Galapagos for dinner. Overnight, the captain has taken us south of Santiago Island, and we're now anchored in James Bay. We make a wet landing at Espumilla Beach and are treated with a rainbow. We hike through the mangroves and find that bird life is abundant. There are more of Darwin's finches. The males are black, and the females are brown and streaky. The trail leads us back to the beach. Warblers are looking for breakfast on the beach. Ghost crabs work to clear the sand from their burrows. The blue-footed boobies are fishing. A curious Galapagos hawk makes a low pass over the beach, then sits down in a tree right next to us. These birds have no fear of man. A gun here is almost superfluous, for with the muzzle I pushed a hawk out of the branch of a tree. Charles Darwin. We say goodbye to the hawk and head back to the Queen for a mid-morning snack and to don our wetsuits. Omar held my camera while I got into the water. He couldn't help but take a selfie. Orange cup coral is one of the prettiest. The sea stars are varied and abundant. There are several different kinds of rays and sharks. There are large schools of anchovy that part when you swim through them. There are lots of interesting fish here. These surgeonfish are one of the more numerous species. Here's some with a parrotfish. And an even more spectacularly colored parrotfish. Sergeant majors are plentiful here too. The best part of the dive was watching this turtle grazing. While I'm snorkeling, Sherry's in the Zodiac, getting acquainted with marine iguanas. The black lava rocks on the beach are frequented by large, disgusting, clumsy lizards. They are as black as the porous rocks over which they crawl and seek their prey from the sea. I call them imps of darkness. They assuredly will become the land they inhabit. Charles Darwin. In spite of Darwin's dislike, the marine iguana is a success story of a creature evolving to survive in a hostile environment. They prefer to eat just a few kinds of red algae and to forage at low tide. But they are flexible. They'll eat green algae in a pinch and can dive up to 30 feet if necessary. As a cold-blooded reptile, the marine iguana can spend a limited time in the cold water. So they spend a lot of time basking in the sun to warm up. Iguanas appear to have a light-colored head, but this is a salt excreted through their nostrils from glands in their head. Sherry's always on the lookout for birds. We meet back at the Queen of Galapagos for lunch and a siesta. We're going for a hike this afternoon. The lava fields make for a tough walk for us, but the inhabitants just don't seem to see the problem. We see a lot more marine iguanas, and they're a lot more active than they were before lunch. The sea lions enjoy the warmth of the lava rocks also. In spite of this environment, humans attempted to settle here in the 1930s. It's a good thing that we left this land to the creatures who are evolved to fit the environment rather than humans destroying the environment to make it hospitable to us.